When I was really young, I went to the West Coast for a summer job, and I worked in an automotive factory that remanufactured V8 engines, and I got the idea out there to trade in my return plane ticket to buy a very old 66 Mustang, and then without a driver's license or insurance or a spare tire, drive it from Los Angeles back to our home in Michigan without telling my parents. I think I just always identified my whole life, my whole approach to being my own person was that summer, that trip in that Mustang. One of the reasons why I love working at Ford is because we're a company that would make Mustang for Europe. I remember the early days when we were considering this. A few of us were talking to Bill Ford about it, and he said, Jim, through my whole life of being connected with Ford, my father, my grandfather, me, I have always dreamed of visualizing driving a Mustang in Europe as the ultimate expression of what makes our company different. Something that we've never done as a company, but we could only do because of how far we've come.
Well, the Mustang came out in 1965, and it's a really interesting moment in European history because it was 20 years after the end of the Second World War, and there was a real sense of something changing. People were discovering a sense of fun. They looked particularly to America, and America became this kind of magical symbol of a better life, and the joys of the open road. The mystique of the Mustang absolutely tapped into that. It represents something more than itself. It's a sort of sexiness and a freedom and an excitement as an American car, an American classic that you just don't see on Europe's roads, that represents something extraordinary. I think that's the appeal of the Mustang to European drivers, where a lot of drivers would love to get hold of one. It's almost as though you are able to transform your surroundings and use your car as a kind of wish fulfillment fantasy.
There are certain cues that always make a Mustang. If you just keep repeating the same cues, you're going to end up with the older cars. Our job was really to balance the cues so that it was still Mustang, but at the same time moving it forward. The profile of the vehicle is very important. We get what we call this shark bite look to it, so that the leading edge of the hood is leaning forward, so you really get that lovely feel to the nose of the car. One of the images we talk about, and the customers actually picked these as images when we were doing some research, was this sort of fist breaking through. So there's nothing subtle about the front end of a Mustang, so it was very important to get that sort of bluff feel to the front end that really was quite dramatic, and a really strong Mustang signature. You see the rear end, it's 100% Mustang with what we call the racetrack around the tri-bar tail lamps. The graphics are unmistakably Mustang, but I think done in a very modern way. You see the car, you get this beautiful profile and this lovely streamlined fastback. That was really a very important thing, to get the proportions and the stance of the vehicle right and get that centre line right. It's really something special for me to see this car in Scotland and see it, you know, in this environment, and you really can't wait to drive it. Started the redesign of the car. It was the 50th anniversary, and so we wanted this to be quite special. So we really looked at what the formula of the Mustang was and said we need to adapt that formula to make it a car that will stand out. And so we worked a lot on the proportions of the car. We wanted to make the car lower, the rear end is wider, so we really wanted that stance to be important. So when you see this car, not only you know it's a Mustang, but you know it can handle as well. You're actually sitting lower than the previous version. The whole car's actually been lowered by about 30 millimeters. It's something we really wanted to get from both an exterior proportion standpoint and also the view out of the car from the driver's seat. We've spent a lot of time and effort really getting the quality of the interior up in terms of not just the fit and finish, but also the materials we've used, you know, real aluminium, and just making sure that by the way we've designed the interior, it comes together really well. Been waiting for this for a long time because, you know, living in Michigan it's some really nice roads, but they're usually quite straight and quite flat. So this is the first time I've been able to drive the car in some really nice roads, and nothing better than good Scottish roads.
Whenever you redo a Mustang, you have the eyes of the world on you. We do a lot of products and we love all of the products that we do, but Mustang is special. There weren't customers in Europe because we didn't offer it, right? But there were plenty of fans. What they wanted was pretty consistent. They wanted, you know, the next generation Mustang, and everything Mustang stands for is the American icon it's been for 50 years. It was more about just doing the best Mustang that we've ever done. It's not about developing vehicles differently for Europe because we want those dynamics in the global vehicle.
I think we're going to strengthen the traditional Mustang by adding to it and enhancing it with the work we've been doing over the last 10-15 years on our global Ford DNA. This car has got all of the modern conveniences that would make it a very good daily driver. Our Sync 2 system with an 8-inch touchscreen, navigation, full connectivity through the Sync system. It's also got features that make the car fun, such as the mode switch that allows you to change between different driving modes and different steering efforts. It's got the launch control function, so if you want to make a fast start of the lights, the car will help you do it. You don't have to get embarrassed that you'll stall the thing.
With the new platform base off, the body being stiffer allows us to work more with the suspension than versus accounting for body flex. Independent rear suspension, from the beginning we knew we were going to do that, and so that gave us a lot of capability. I think the area that was a choice that I'm glad we did was the rear was working so well that we weren't, you know, getting enough capability out of the front. So going to the double ball joint front suspension was admittedly a change in direction, kind of stressful. But what it gave us in front capability, what it gave us in packaging front brakes, I'm glad we did it. The final thing was we took a big step in widening the vehicle, and that was a decision we made a little bit late, a little bit of tear up, but again, the proportions of the vehicle and the capacity that we got when we did that, I'm glad we made that decision.
We've been working hard on a manual transmission shiftability DNA, and we've taken all of the best knowledge, most of it actually developed here in Europe, and that manual shifting DNA has flown into Mustang. This is the best shifting Mustang that we've ever built. We use the best expertise from all around the world to produce the best possible car that Ford could produce, whilst at the same time staying true to its Mustang roots. When you first drive the vehicle and on your first acceleration in that first 50 meters, you'll find out why it's special.
And this is a fun vehicle to drive. I think there's some roads in Europe that are actually more fun than I can find in Michigan.
It feels great to be in this new Mustang. The outgoing model with the solid axle rear suspension was in many ways not appropriate for what the European customers expect. But with the new suspension architecture, which provides the full level of performance that premium cars in Europe provide, it is really a very good time for the car to enter Europe. This is not just a car for cruising, it is a very serious sports car. The V8 version comes with 418 horsepower. The EcoBoost 2.3 liter, also a very powerful engine with 314 horsepower. All the European versions come with a performance pack with special suspension tuning and brake and ESC tuning.
The design of the convertible top was an area that the Mustang team really wanted to bring some innovation and improvement for our customers. We have worked on the material selection for the top. The engineers engineered the material to provide better absorption and give a more refined interior sound. And the speed at which it folds down is frankly remarkable. We also wanted to make sure that when the top was stowed, its stowage was transparent to the customer's usage. At the same time, we have great stowage volume so that you can put 2 sets of golf clubs easily in there. Our customers are going to be pleasantly surprised by the space they have.
Convertibles tend to be slightly less precise than coupe versions of any car, just because the body stiffness of a coupe is higher than that of a convertible. However, I was really surprised to see how similar the coupe and the convertibles of the Mustang are.
We spent time tuning the V8 induction system, charge motion control valves. On the exhaust, we also tuned the exhaust to make sure that we minimize the back pressure losses in order to give that free-flowing, free-breathing capability. And we wanted to make sure that the Mustang was a great vehicle for drivers as they pushed it through roads with changing elevations and tight corners. We have spent a lot of time out on the Autobahn. We've spent time driving through some of the tight roads in Britain, making sure that the vehicle feels right and is able to deliver the expectations of the European market, but still has that Mustang feel and that Mustang heritage, because frankly, everything we've found here in Europe is something that's valuable for our Mustang customer around the world. Mustang and rear-wheel drive go together. It's just a wonderful driving experience, and it's such a deep part of the heritage. This new Mustang has continued to deliver on that heritage, but so much better, not only from a track perspective, but also for everyday driving. We have capability through the electronic stability control to better control the vehicle if things start to get a little bit exciting. In the track mode. We broaden the capability of the vehicle. We don't intervene. You can really push the vehicle to its limits and to the driver's limits, but in normal mode, we keep it very safe for that everyday driving experience. I think it really gives you a sense of freedom and power and ability to go and do things that you just can't do in other cars.
It is very quick. You can drive it very precisely and really have fun in it.
It's a program that's just full of excitement, full of passion. 50 years of Mustang, it's fantastic.
Look at that. I recognize that. Oh, yeah. Awesome. That's good. Even smells the same. Oh, it definitely smells the same. That's fantastic. I gotta start it up if you don't mind. Yeah. Wow, that brings back some memories. Yeah. That's what makes a Mustang too. I remember talking to the engineer, a sound engineer, and he said, yeah, I just went around to garages with a microphone for literally days and days listening to older Mustangs, try to get the sound of the exhaust just right. You know, you had cool stuff back then, right? You had like rear windows that rolled down. And you know what's nice about these fastbacks is they were beautiful cars. No B-pillar. So, you know, they were really, oh, and you want air conditioning? That's air conditioning right there. You see these? These three things? No one would ever notice that. You see this? And this character line goes all the way back and creates this very strong shoulder on the other side. You find the same pinched detail on this car. And this detail has the same strong shoulder as the original car. You know, one of the most important parts of Mustang was price. Its idea is a lot more affordable. It's not so disconnected from the past that it doesn't feel like a muscle car, but it can't be unsophisticated. Getting that balance is not easy. And this car did it. These cars are 50 years apart. And you can still see all the connections. It's kind of cool seeing them both side by side. For my life now, I definitely get the new one. Yeah, but it'd be nice to have a friend with this.